You're very welcome back to the Daily Rundown with me, Fiona Fox. Now, tonight's special guest is Gary Howard, and he is a forensic professional. Gary, hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming in. You're so good, because I'm sure you must be very busy, doing forensic kind of cool stuff.
Well, cool to some.
Come on, I think everybody thinks forensic sounds, because we've got so many Law and Order, CSIs.
Yeah, there's a lot of TV shows, lots and lots of TV shows.
That have kind of pushed your agenda for you, or are they a bit of a headache?
Well, they've been a massive marketing tool, obviously. Yeah. Lots of people want to get into the industry, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of negative spin-offs as well, as in all these universities and colleges, and everybody wants to run courses because it brings students in. But have they got the background to be able to deliver those courses?
Well, this is what we're going to find out. What you actually need to do. So your title would be a forensic professional, not a forensic scientist.
That's correct. Yes.
So there's a difference.
Yeah.
How did you kind of get to that stage today?
Well, I was in the military. I was in the military police, and it was a job I always wanted to do as a crime scene investigator. And in 2003, I got the chance to go to Bulford, where I was instrumental in the forensic department there, and we dealt with all the repatriations from Iraq and Afghanistan for everybody who died. Looked at other investigations as well. And then I left there in 2006 and went to Trinidad and Tobago, believe it or not. As you can see from my suntan, but that was because there was a lot of crime.
Right.
Huge crime problem in Trinidad, and obviously with today's sad news about the England cricketer who was murdered there as well. Things haven't got better, unfortunately.
Right.
But I managed to design and build the first fingerprint laboratory in the Caribbean.
So you designed and created and set up the first fingerprint laboratory in the Caribbean.
That's correct.
That's an amazing achievement.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So all your forensic training came from the military then, did it?
Yeah, I got my training in the military. I had lots of experience, obviously, with them. And then going on to Trinidad, there was a lot more hands-on experience there as well. And there was very violent crime, shootings, machete killings and things like that. And all ages, unfortunatately.
Right.
So there was a lot of experience.
Different experience, was it, for you?
Yeah.
Going over there.
So while crime scene investigators in the UK would generally be fed into it, doing burglaries and car thefts and things like that.
Very standard kind of common or garden crimes, you want to put it that way, or whatever.
Yeah, it's one way to describe it. But then, obviously, I was thrown in the deep end, really. Yeah. And there was only 3 of us to cover the whole island at one point when I first arrived. And 3 people who were doing the job. And it was very difficult, going from murder to murder to murder, because there was multiple killings a day.
That's amazing.
Then came back in 2011.
So you were out there for a while.
Yeah, definitely. My family joined me as well later. But then came back in 2011 and set complete forensics up because I saw there was there's disparity between the university students and the college students, and I felt that somebody had to speak up for the college students because they were good, they can do the job. So
this is what complete forensics is about then, you're going to close that gap kind of. So how did you kind of go about that?
Well, I managed to I'm a member of the Chartered Society of Forensic Sciences, which is important because obviously that's my professional standing as well. So I maintain that, and I carry out work to ensure that I'm still current and my qualifications I don't have skill fade. But I also I go into schools, I do talks, I do events, to get young people and their hands-on into science. And I'm not trying to breed forensic scientists. We can't have, we don't want too many.
And I guess not everyone can do it anyway.
They can't, but everybody needs to know about science.
Yeah.
Because just opening a door is a scientific act. You're using force on push and pull. So there's a little bit of physics in there, and people don't put the correlation that they're using science every day. Young ladies come up to me at these events and I say to them, "What are you going to do?" They say, "I'm going to go into hair and beauty." Okay, what science do you need for that then? Oh, do I need science?
Yeah.
Well, think about the chemicals you're using.
The
skin tests. And, So there's lots of ways just to make people think outside the box.
And there is a big push on science at the moment. We've had a few people in talking about different aspects. From trying to get more women involved. Into obviously there's tech, engineering, science, all those
STEM.
subjects. STEM, thank you. Yeah. So this forensics comes under this as well. Obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a STEM ambassador as well for the Museum of Science and Industry, so I offer some of my time for free for them as well.
Brilliant.
And we go out and we just engage people in science using different activities. Obviously, as you've said already, all these TV shows. There's only one really good one. That's Dexter. Obviously, the rest.
Dexter was my next one to actually.
But all these TV shows have managed to highlight that people want to know more about forensics.
It was super interesting.
Yeah.
And do they get so those programs? I have to ask. I mean, the likes of Dexter, all those, and Hollywood in general. Do they get it right a lot of the time? I mean, how accurate are those programs that we're watching? So can if I hastily
there's a lot of artistic
wipe
intent.
a gun, is there? If I hastily wipe a gun with a hanky, just after I've used it, is that all my DNA gone off? I should ask, and that sounds like I've got agenda.
You would think it would, but often you don't wipe it well enough, and there's going to be traces left on it, of course. But then, of course, you're transferring from that hanky to the weapon as well.
Right.
So there'd be secondary transfer there, and then we could trace you to that hanky to the weapon.
So it's not just that fingerprint. There's just so much that comes under forensics.
There's so many different types of science that we can use. From bugs that have laid larvae inside a body, to footwear marks, to fingerprints, to there were even specialists who say they can match an ear to a person. So if somebody's listening to a window, they can match
my goodness, an ear mark.
Yeah, personally, put my hand on my heart, I don't think that's scientific enough to prove somebody's been there, but of course the DNA would be.
Yeah.
And if their hair is there as well, it's an easy match for DNA from hair.
And it's advancing all the time as well, isn't it?
Yes.
I think there was a kind of a huge advancement though at one stage, wasn't there? So much so that we've gone back and reopened cases, and we were talking about this earlier on, seeing people be taken off death row because there was new evidence and that type of thing. Have we kind of reached a point where the forensics are at this is as much as we can do, or is there?
No, there's plenty more we can do. There's plenty more innovation out there. The problem is the government shut the government laboratory, the Forensic Science Service, and that's where a lot of the research and development was done. So the industry itself is now trying to find new ways to research and develop new techniques and bring those in. We're seeing now techniques like it would take 2 to 3 days to get a DNA hit. So if I touch this cup, I could get my DNA from it. It would take 2 to 3 days. There's now technology we can do it in 90 minutes.
Wow.
We want to be able to take that to the crime scene though, because the machine is probably as big as the chair we're sitting on.
Right, okay.
So we want to take that to the crime scene. So there's identification of new technologies we need. We just need to be able to get them. But of course we need the scientists to be able to do that.
Right, okay.
And I think in the UK we need 1.2 million new scientists before 2020.
Is that, I'm not going to know, is that achievable? That sounds like an awful amount of people.
It's a huge amount of people. Huge amount of people.
But this is obviously what this drive from you and from Complete Forensics is all about as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you wanted to tell us about one of your other projects as well, didn't you?
I run a competition on behalf of the government and World Skills UK in forensic science. It's an annual event, and it's for anybody who's studying a forensic course. So they could be BTEC students on an applied science forensic science course, or university students on some kind of forensic degree program, and of course A-level students as well doing sciences if they're doing the
it applies to general science as well, right?
Yeah. The reason being is we try to make it all encompassing so all of them can take part, but it's to find the very best in the UK. Now everybody says, where's all the females in science? We've run this competition 3 years running so far. This is the 4th year now. Every year we've had a female win it.
You're joking. That is amazing. Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
And is it a kind of equal 50-50 applicants?
No, there's been more females applying for it as well.
Really? That's fantastic. So it's really feminist sort of area then, is it, forensics?
It is. There's a lot of females in forensics. And I know, talking to a lady who's now my lead judge, Laura Craig. Laura works for Orchid Cellmark, and she says about 75% of Orchid Cellmark, one of the biggest forensic companies in the country, is 75% women.
Wow.
So there's a lot of females out there who are in it. Why
is that, Gary, now? Is that is it something that women are more, predisposed to, or?
I don't know.
Something, is it the multitasking? Is it one of these, can you put it down to anything like that?
I've no idea, to tell you the truth.
It's amazing though, isn't it? It's very, very interesting.
It's an industry I love.
Yeah.
Because every day is different. You always find something new. and the stories people have got just inspire you to go on and on.
I can imagine. I mean, even just from this interview here, how can somebody get involved in the competition though? Yeah.
Well, the registration for this year is just closed. It closed last week, and what we do then is hold heats around the country. We've got 7 heats this year, including Scotland and Wales. We've got students from Northern Ireland who are going to be coming over, and they'll carry out heats, and then from those heats, the best 8 from all of them, we've had 70 competitors register.
Yeah.
The best 8 will be chosen to go to the NEC in November, and all of the public can come and see us at the NEC in November. There's a huge skills show. There's 80,000 people annually visit it. I think there's about 70 competitions, 800 competitors in different competitions.
Wow, it's massive.
Yeah, it's huge. But these 8 people compete at the finals to find the best person in the UK, the best student in the UK in forensic science.
Amazing. So it's obviously it's got to be quite a high standard, I guess, when you've got through all those heats and you've got to that point. And that's fantastic for young people, though. It's a great opportunity for them. It
is, and it adds so much to their CV as well.
Yeah.
One of our main sponsors, again, it's Orchid Cellmark. This is their first year they're coming on board, but they're going to use it as a recruitment event as well.
Brilliant.
Because they're going to see what these young people can do.
Of course.
Because the tasks are real world tasks they've got to deal with, but also if they can use the time management, the analytical skills, the recording skills, and all the other different disciplines they're going to use within that, that's their employability covered.
Yeah. And each year, the last 3 years, it's been a female winner.
It's female winner, fantastic. Yeah. I think the first year we had 1 male who was second. The second year we had first, second and third female, and last year first, second and third female.
Amazing, that's brilliant.
So yeah.
I'm a bit raging now. There's so much more to ask. I had loads of silly questions, based around sort of, do twins have the same fingerprints and all? Do they though?
No, fingerprints are different.
Even identical twins?
Even identical twins. Fingerprints are formed when you're in the womb, in all that fluid. You know when you're in the bath and they go all
bit pickled. Yeah.
And it's just when they're in there, they're moving around, they're touching things. Even touching their heads, etc. And that forms the fingerprints. So that makes every single one different. Right.
So that's definitely different.
Definitely different.
What about? Did you happen to watch? Everybody was watching Making a Murderer at the end of last year.
I didn't watch it. No.
Oh, I was going to say, is he guilty? Is he guilty? We'll have to wait for that one. I think they're still working.
I'll watch it and come back.
Do watch it and come back to us. We really want to know that one. Gary, thank you so much for coming in. I'm sorry we don't have more time to chat, but I think we'll probably have to get you back in.
No problem. Thank you very much indeed. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Gary Howard there from Complete Forensics. We're going to take a quick break now, and when we come back, Guy and Mike will be back with me, so don't go away.